Hey guys, it's literally 1 second later. We're gonna do our ending thoughts on Gloomhaven. Question 1: what did you like about the game?
Damn near everything. If I'm gonna be completely fucking honest.
Yeah.
The majority of the scenarios had like some kind of mechanic that was specific to that scenario. So every round felt fresh, felt new, and honestly, I think my favorite thing about it is even when we got our shit kicked in, it was a ton of fun.
Yeah. That is like one of the most important things for a great game is if you can still have fun losing. Like, my god, this is the best.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about this in the past. Like, whenever we do lose, it was like, oh my gosh, I should have done this instead, or we had
Bad RNG,
that cultist summoned 3 times in a row, and that screwed us. Like, next time, if we can keep him from summoning, then we can make it through. There's very specific things that we noticed that we felt that we could solve. Like, it wasn't just like we got railed and I have no clue how to fix that.
We just aren't high enough level to do this or whatever. Like, I never felt like we were under leveled for anything.
Yeah, the game. I mean, just towards the end when we were completely maxed out, there was a little bit of like a power creep. But like, I mean, overall though, the way it managed to stay balanced with us was incredible.
The scaling is...
Yep, that's what a note that I had was like as we leveled up, it didn't ever feel like we were like, oh my gosh, this is like super, super, super easy. We did get to that point, like you said,
just
very, very high, and we just bumped up the difficulty, and then it felt okay. But the card play felt very rewarding. I love the top and bottom thing, like because you're kind of stuck, but you're not completely stuck. You can be like, okay, well, I'm going to run the bottom of this instead of the top, and that gives me enough flexibility that I can still do things that might not be as optimized, but it still felt really cool. Like, I really liked that mechanic of, I've got this hand, I've got these 2 cards that I'm going to play. I can make a couple choices, but I'm a little bit locked into it.
And on top of that, like, a lot of your level 1 cards are viable the whole way through. But there were several times where I was like, well, I've got this level 4 card, but this level 1 is as good or better.
Yeah. Or I like this little mechanic part of it a little bit better, so it makes me want to keep it.
Yeah, the best high-level cards that built on the initial mechanics of the level 1 cards. That it filtered in and you're like, oh, okay, now this goes with this other thing. And this makes those first cards better.
The way that you could combo different things.
And then the way that the initiative is placed in there too. So then you have a lower level card that's not as powerful, but you're like, I need that 6 initiative, so I'm going to pick a weaker card because I've got that initiative, and I'll use it for its base or its good movement and good initiative, and so that makes it more valuable. And kind of trying to calculate what of those things are more valuable is really cool because you're like, okay, this is a much better card, but the initiative is absolute junk, and I've got a bunch of other junk initiatives, so I don't want to take that card. And so that was really cool.
What I like is the way the mechanics are broken down into kind of different segments. You have the ability cards that you pull, right? Then you have your modifier cards. Then you have your item cards. And then each one is very simple and intuitive. But then when you combine all those elements, it creates this level of complexity that allows all kinds of strategization.
Oh, yeah. And because there's such a variety of stuff, you can do different combos with all kinds of different stuff.
And it didn't feel like, because like a lot of like role-playing games and stuff like that, they have like, this item is the best item. Everyone gets it. Into story. Like, it's like a no-brainer that you get this item anytime you build any character. Which the Eagle Eye Goggles were kind of like that.
Well, the stamina potions.
And the
stamina potions are a little OP.
Yep, and they 100% nerf the crap out of those.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time though, like the other items felt like I could pick any item that I wanted to, and I could modify how my character played based off of the items that I picked, right?
Yeah, different characters had different best items.
Right?
Yeah, it wasn't just a one size fits all. Like very much, you could build around the character you had.
Oh, absolutely.
Like some of them, the Eagle Eye Goggles, I was like, I don't feel like I need, because my modifier deck was strong enough that I'm like, you know what? The worst it's going to be is a +0 instead of a +2.
And you can tell some of the item cards are kind of designed for that. You know, this will work better with this character. This will work better with these characters.
Yeah, definitely. Like those, like your comfortable shoes and stuff like that was designed for a character that's going to do a lot of basic movement. You know, and it's kind of I could totally see the Soothsayer being like that's a no-brainer item. So yeah, I really liked all of those pieces put together, built a really fun puzzle.
Yeah.
That was really enjoyable. Yeah, like you said, each piece was intuitive in and of itself, but putting all three together was a fun puzzle to try to solve, to optimize that. Okay, I've got an attack 5, but now I'm going to use my Eagle Eye Goggles, and I'm going to use my Power Potion, and I can use my Stun Powder, or I can do this with it, or I can make it a double attack, or a spear attack, or like that little mini puzzle with all of those together was just really cool too.
Yeah, I never felt like there was just a set routine with the character. Like, well, I played these cards first, I played these cards second, I played these cards third. Every scenario, it's like no, every scenario, it's like, well, I don't know exactly what the thing to do here or there is. You know, there's always thinking involved.
And there was a couple of times it was like, okay, these two cards, I'm going to generally play them together.
Yeah.
But you know, you lose one of them. It's like, okay, how can I combo this with something else? How can I adjust here?
Yep. Or you're like
flexible.
Or you're like, I normally do this, but I need a higher movement because I'm way far away, or I'm super close, so I can now do a base attack, a bottom attack, and a top attack. So it switches every single scenario.
And that killed me so much with the fucking Mind Thief. Because I had so many things, I'm like, okay, this would be really good on this, but this is, and I'd get so caught up because like, I've got two really cool top cards, and then I just forget about the bottom.
I wonder if the Mind Thief would have been more interesting if you got it more towards the end of our play, when we had a lot more items unlocked and we had a little bit better understanding of the game. And like, think about like the ones that let you, we got the cards the items that let you play two bottoms or two tops. Imagine actually having those in the Mind Thief and actually being able to do those great
that would be
combos
pretty nuts.
Yeah,
you know?
I could see that.
Yeah.
Or in the other things that let you get cards back, so you could do that a couple of times a scenario. Like that might, you know.
Well, and that's another interesting thing that we didn't actually touch on this whole thing is the replayability of the characters.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if we went through and we did some base level enhancements on through and said, you know, Josh said, you know, the scoundrel was really cool and you did some enhancements on it.
Yeah,
I want to see what I can do and maybe try a different build on it. And it's already got some enhancements. You could maybe throw some enhancements on there yourself.
Yeah.
You could do a completely different item build because you could, the way that the level cards are picked, you could pick a different build with it, and it makes it a totally different character.
Yeah, like the Plague Herald, instead of a curse build, doing a poison build, and playing it completely different, but it's the same character. Yeah, I mean, I think that would have been cool to see. Like, it felt like, I mean, we didn't even unlock all the characters, which sucks because I would have liked to play the Night Shroud again. Like, I love that character. So I was thinking, if I retire with this guy, my retirement goal doesn't unlock Lightning Bolt. So I was like, I'll replay the Night Shroud for sure. But we didn't really get a chance to. Like, I don't know if that's a normal thing. Like, you know, like I think our want to unlock as many characters as possible and play so many different kept us from picking stuff.
But like we also didn't go. We didn't really go back. We didn't go back and play any scenarios because we were just everything new.
Yeah.
If we were like, okay, we really want to retire this guy, we can go back and we can fight cultists or vermlings or
very
whatever.
True. Yeah, we
but
did.
That
we
doesn't
did play.
feel fun to replay a scenario you've already beaten, right?
That's like some grinding in a video game.
It's definitely like, you know, like if you know you can beat it, you know you already beat it, and you're stronger now, if anything, than when you beat it before. Like, why even go through the pretense of playing it again? Just say you did it. Yeah. But then it's like, I don't know. It's
Yeah, we were more purist about it. Like, we played this scenario, we beat it, we're not going to replay it. You know, like we were tempted to a couple times, but yeah, like I think that we felt like it was cheating somehow by replaying a scenario just to
hit a mark on a checkbox.
Yeah, or get a retirement goal.
I definitely think the way that
not a
we
literal
played it,
checkbox.
Yeah,
I think is the best way to play it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
So this kind of leads into our next question. What would you have done differently, if anything, if we played it again? Like if we decided to replay Gloomhaven, start from scratch, what would you do differently? Whether that means like, you know, giving more to the sanctuary, less to the sanctuary, focusing more on enhancement, focusing less on enhancements. Like is there anything that you would do differently, or in like playing scenarios? Like, yeah,
there's very little I think I would have actually done differently. I would have probably given to the sanctuary more, because especially at the beginning I was very, very anti-give to the sanctuary.
Yeah.
And I like, well, with the scoundrel where I had the get 100 gold to retire, that one I probably wouldn't have changed much.
Yeah.
That was, but everyone after that, there was no reason not to.
Yeah.
Especially after I got all my items, like I had no reason to do enhancements on the quartermaster.
Yeah.
I could have put more money to that, and that could have given us prosperity just a little faster.
We might have gotten prosperity faster. I mean, we were still way far away from prosperity 9.
Yeah.
You know, we would have had to do.
Well, we just gained 5, right?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So. We're still 9 boxes away from prosperity 9, even after beating the gloom. So we would have had to play very optimally. I mean, we could have only 1, 2, 3. We would have only gotten 3 more prosperity from giving. Like, our max giving would have only given us 3 prosperity, which wouldn't have gotten us to prosperity 9 anyways. So we might have gotten prosperity quicker, so we would have unlocked more of those cool items that we really enjoyed. But
I'll tell you one thing that we should have done differently. We should have unlocked those prosperity 6 items.
Yes, that I completely forgot about. The prosperity 7 items.
7, yeah.
When we actually unlocked them.
Yeah,
that would have been nice.
Yeah, that sucked. That was a major fail on me. One thing that I would have liked to have done differently is pursue a storyline. Like, it felt like we kind of went, we're going to do this scenario. Oh, it unlocked this new storyline. We're going to jump over here, and then we're going to jump back to it, and then we're going to jump back to it, and then
that's fair.
Rather than, like, I think it was our fear of missing out. Like, I think that's like, we wanted to be like,
once we found out that, like, you know, following big story arcs blocks things, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, no, let's do all the little stuff, and then we'll get back to the big, big arcing one.
The one that I vaguely remember is, I think it was when we were going to fight the Drake. And we're coming up, and there was the cave that had the voice.
Yeah.
So there was the voice and the dragon. So it's like, which
the
one
stuff
do we
they
do?
unlocked kind of overlapped in a weird way, and it's like, well,
and there was some
what if I want to do
confusion there.
one but not the other? But
There was a couple times where we were like in the middle of the thing, and then unlocked some side scenario like on the way, and then we diverged off of that, which I would put as a design flaw. I understand you need to be able to seed other stuff so you have your side quests and whatever, but if you're on track for one thing, let's go on the track for one
I think that was one of the things that I mentioned about things that I would like to changes I would have made to the game. I would have had some sort of like story tree, and I think they do that in Frosthaven, where it's more like, it doesn't have to be exact. Like, okay, these are kind of like main branch scenarios, and these are definitely side scenarios. Like, we're going to go off on this side scenario and hunt down these bandits that stole a package or whatever. Like, I would have liked to see them labeled in a way that we're not scared, that we're like, okay, let's just follow this little arc to the end and then come back to the main branch. Where it kind of felt like we were like, is this the main branch? Is this not the main branch? Like,
and there
what
was
do we do with
definitely
this?
times
Like,
where we'd go into a scenario and, oh, remember this? No, I don't remember.
I vaguely remember something about
how
it.
or why we got here, but we're doing it.
Yeah.
There's definitely a little confusion on our part because the beginning of the game, it seemed like there was a central plot and then just little things off to the side.
Yeah.
Because Jerk Sarah giving us missions.
Yeah.
And then once that ended, we were expecting something to pick up
Yeah.
after that, but
And
it
nothing
doesn't
did
really. It
right
just
away.
becomes
Yeah.
a sandbox after
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
the closest you could say on that would be the hail.
Hail.
bits.
Yes.
But I was
Everybody kind of hated
confused.
hail.
Well, I was confused by that because I thought her whole point was to
just
gain
to unlock
enhancements.
enhancements.
So I was like, oh, we gain enhancements. She's going to be our enhancement lady. That was a side quest to unlock the enhancement feature. Now we're going. It turned out that she was the main storyline, but I had no clue.
That completely sailed over my head.
Yeah.
And she's like, and here's a bunch of other cool, weird stuff you could look at. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Weird, fun, extra stuff.
And then, oh, yeah,
It's
this
like,
is the main
water
story.
breathing.
Yeah.
Well, there's some stuff we need water breathing, so let's go do that.
Yeah.
And then
It took way too long to be like, oh, all that extra stuff is the prelude.
is
to
the
fucking
main
ending.
thing. So,
Yeah.
so I think that would have been nicer to kind of
Yeah.
have just like some kind of visual representation or some kind of mark on the
I
card.
mean, at
that
least
said,
a little something. Like, you don't want it to be
Yeah.
too leading or spoilery, but like, it would have been nice to have a slightly better idea of what was going on.
Yeah, because it is kind of a cool perspective to be like, you're just mercenaries and you're picking up random jobs, and eventually that morphs into like an overarching story. Like, oh, we're checking out these crypts and there's something with this gloom or something. Okay, we're doing these other side jobs. There's something else with this gloom. Oh, that leads to something else, and then it kind of eventually gets formed into a main story. But I felt like it was like either the way we played it was so disjointed that I had a problem following the story, or just the nature of it.
yeah,
felt-
and that's
felt
hard to
weird.
say if that was just the way we played it,
Yeah.
or if that's actually, how it's presented.
Yeah. So that's one thing. The fonts on the lettering, like, I was annoyed by. And the fact that sometimes there wasn't enough tokens for what we needed. Like, there's like, these 5 blocks are all A's, but there's only 2 A's.
Yeah.
So I had to come up with something else. Like, it would have just been nice to have 5 or 6 more A's so that we could fill it up. And that's just like a little tiny annoying
kind
thing.
of on that, the actual board design. This is the first game I've ever really played with hexes,
Okay.
which, because of the weird shapes that they did with some of the map tiles, I think it made more sense than doing squares.
Yeah.
And it gave its own uniqueness to line attacks and distancing.
Yeah.
Because, this is 3, but then also this is 3.
Yeah.
And then you can attack here, but if you have a line attack, you can't attack this guy right here, even though it's 2 away. It gives some weird targeting, and it that itself is almost its own unique mechanic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I know
the hexes.
hexes are a fairly common thing.
Yeah, and then there's some polarity with it in the D&D world, with either you love hexes and that's what you use for everything, or you hate hexes and it's straight squares and that's the smartest thing to do, and hexes are dumb and annoying. So
yeah, I was very, very anti-hex going into this, but I've grown a kind of appreciation for them at this point.
Yeah. I was kind of neutral with it, and seemed fine to me. Yeah, like I didn't really have a problem with it.
Yeah, I personally wanted to comment on that because I was just
Yeah, I mean, I liked it for the change of pace, because we play so much D&D, we're just straight square grids all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with it for that, but like I like the little extra intricacy of hexes, like you said, like with the line attacks and stuff like that, like being able to cozy up to a guy that's got a big line attack coming up, but you can still get next to him, or right
exactly.
here.
And I'm avoiding his attack because
Yeah.
it's not.
Or you get the weird flower clusters, and you can oh, I can get this guy right here because I'm targeting this cluster or whatever.
Yeah, which is cool. Yeah. The only other thing that I had was the city and road events. I would have preferred them to like just be a little bit different. I can't put my finger on what I would like different about them, but they felt a little bit like tacked on.
Mm-hmm.
Like either like I think I made a note that I just thought of this like today. It would have been cool to be like, I pick up a road event, something happens, and I put the road, like the next piece of this, like, okay, I unlock road event 3. This is road event 2. I unlock road event 3. Place road event 3 on the top of the deck. So then, like, it's not like shuffle it in somewhere and you get to it 6 months later and you go, what was this about? Oh yeah, this led off of that.
What if there was a mechanic like where instead of, either you put it back in or it's gone from the game forever, like, this road event unlocked, this is a weird introduction to a puzzle. Hold on to this until you unlock
okay.
This is road event 35. If, when you run into road event 36 and then, like, it's a continued storyline, and then maybe after you get all 3, it unlocks a scenario.
Ooh,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, I like that. I really like that. I like that.
Yeah, but yeah, I definitely think the city and road events need a little bit of a tweak somehow.
Yeah, the berries one, man. Like,
so that
like, put a limit on it. Just say, like, leave it in, like, 3 times.
That's
or
exactly
the
what I was
third
gonna
time
say.
you pull this card, get rid of it, or something.
Yeah, like, have, like, a little checkbox
We just
mark
ended up
on
pulling
there.
it so many times.
Yes.
We did get that so many times, and that
'Cause it felt like
did
we got
keep
cheated.
us from getting some of these things.
Yeah, we got cheated out of some really interesting road events because we kept getting stupid berries or stupid guy on the side of the road that needs a potion. Like, we pulled those so many times that I felt cheated because I was like, I want to find out a cool road event that unlocks a side scenario, and we didn't miss any. I don't think that we had unlocked, but it felt to me like I was like, oh crap, stupid berries again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that the solution to that would be put it back in the deck, but have a little mark on it where you mark it, and the second time you pull it, you throw it out, or the third time you pull it, you throw it out, or whatever. Like,
something, because, like, it's like getting a radiant. It's like doing a radiant quest in Skyrim. It's like, well, this doesn't feel like anything.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I know this is just nonsense.
I'm pretty sure I've played a game before that had a mechanic similar to that, where it's like, okay, you get this once, and you check it, and after a couple times, it's gone.
Yeah. I really like Kevin's idea, though, of, like, this is the beginning of a series of, like, road events. Put them to the side, and, like, it's gonna open up a story.
It'll build on
like
itself.
A small story.
Yeah.
That you could do it.
Well, and there was a couple that felt like it was going to try to do that, like the one that unlocked the black card.
Yeah.
Or there was a couple that kind of did that, like the last ones we did with the summoner.
Yeah.
Those kind of built on each other. So if there was more of that, I think it would be a little better.
Yeah. Like I said, it's just a little less filler and a little more substantive.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, like I said, I couldn't put my finger on exactly what would be needed to fix it, but I just felt like it wasn't quite right. But they were still cool. Like, it was fun just, like, have something happen on the way or, something.
And they make sense from, like, an RP standpoint. Like, you're just hanging out in town, doing your thing. Oh, and you notice some stuff's happening.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. It's a nice way to kind of interject stuff from the world.
Yeah.
Or especially like the road events. You just go out and there's stuff on the road that plays into the world is dangerous and only adventurers go out and do stuff.
Yeah.
But some of the repetitiveness of it, which, again, that would be a realistic thing.
Yeah.
But
I think I appreciated the city events more than the road events, because the city events had more lore drops. Like it felt like more like it sprinkled in some like, oh, this is how the city works. This is how the city operates. These are the denizens of Gloomhaven and how they view the racist against vermlings.
I was like, how much they hate vermlings.
Like, there's an old guy in a bar, like, rambling to you. Like, those felt like little cool nuggets, where the road events seemed like you're traveling on the road, you run into Inox. What do? You attack them or you talk to them. Well, if you don't have an Inox, you take them out, but you take 3 damage. Like, it felt like they were a little bit more cookie cutter, where the city events felt a little bit more like lore drop RP-ish.
But again, that is part of the like mundaneness or the I don't know the right word, but just that's what happens when you're an adventurer and you go out. Like, we always skip over the to the place or all along the road or whatever, because it is just a bunch of mundane bullshit, and maybe there's some bandits or whatever, and after a certain point you gloss over it.
Yeah. Which is true. We do that in D&D also. Like, you guys are higher enough level where these bandits that are going to attack your caravan, it's worthless to attack them.
Yeah, like they would see you and oh god, those guys are strong. I can just tell.
Or we're so invested in the story that we don't want to use up a whole session by having a bandit attack that doesn't
do
expand the story or put a tidbit in or something like that. Like, I totally do that.
Yeah. Well, and like the this is kind of going off on a little bit of a tangent on this, but like in my D&D game that I ran, I had a lot of just very boring sea travel. Okay. Versus like, you're at sea for like 2 weeks going from here to here. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, you saw a bird today. That was nice.
Yeah.
There's just some mundane nothing about travel, and nobody likes to go over that too much because it's boring and it's dull and whatever. But that's kind of the reality of it.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's a place for it, and sometimes there's not.
Yeah. It's a big thing. I've been arguing with people online about a video game I'm playing, but like lulls in a story, like you kind of need those for pacing sometimes.
Yeah.
I guess it's not really super relevant to this, but just like in a general sense, like, yeah, man, you can't just have big action moments all the time. Sometimes you need a little downtime in between.
Yeah.
And it's like the way you were handling, I mean, I wasn't there for a lot of the early stuff, but like I said, when they were first going out on their boat adventure, you add all that stuff. When they were coming back, you're like, we're past this now. We did this.
Exactly.
Now we can move on.
Well, and then that's one thing that a lot of people give the Studio Ghibli films a lot of praise for is they spend a lot of time on the just mundane moments. Waiting on a train as you're traveling, sitting at the bus stop, whatever.
So I guess trying to apply it to this conversation so we're not just
yakking away.
The road events were a lot more interesting early on, and then as the game got on, it started to feel a little less interesting.
Yeah,
the mundaneness of it over, the littleness of it, the fact that they weren't big things, that they were just little random encounters on the road. Started to feel a little bit more of a drag.
Something that they could do is, here's your up to this point road events, and then once you reach this level, here's this section's road events. Kind of swapping them out as your reputation grows.
Yeah,
here's reputation. Instead of adding to it, you swap.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That way you don't get berries and bits.
Yeah, you've experienced enough that you're not gonna fucking accidentally eat poison berries anymore.
Yeah.
You recognize the poison berries.
Idea. Yeah. Once you reach reputation 3, swap 1, 5, and 6 with 10, 11, and 12.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Put those back in. Take those out of the deck. Put the other ones in.
And you could do like a set for negative reputation 2, maybe.
Yeah.
And I would also say if you lose reputation, it never goes down. Once you hit a mark, once you're reputation 3, if you get just knocked under 3 by something, you don't go back to the last set.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
No, it just unlocks the change, and then that's set.
That was another thing about the city events or the road events too. Like, some of them felt like either you were very, very good or very, very bad. There was no meh. Like, they felt very like either you're playing a good aligned character party or a bad aligned character party, and there was no, which it's really hard to do with two choices in a single playing card.
Well,
so I understand that.
Even in like video games that have the very complex morality systems, it can be hard to have you're good and you're bad.
Yeah. But I think that's a cool solution though. Like when you get negative reputation, like cool stuff, like now the guards are hunting you down. So you pull a card that the guards are hunting you down. Or like your reputation is higher, so these bandits are trying to get your stuff because you got really cool loot because your reputation is so high. They're trying to hunt you down. Like that's a cool mechanic to like swap those things out based off.
And
of
like
reputation.
maybe like your reputation is higher, so now this small group of bandits maybe you ran into a reputation 1.
Yeah.
Now there's 3. They've like gotten allies, so it's a similar thing, but maybe there's a little bit of a growth.
They're
to
back
it,
and they're bigger. Yeah,
or something like that. I don't know if it's like their work, but then also like you could do the same thing like with these, right, where you have the generic ones it comes with, and then you add the ones in. So say you have your generic set of Reputation 1 road events, and then you'll mix in ones you unlock, and then when you switch to Reputation 2, you're like, okay, you swap over the ones you've unlocked, and then you just swap out the base set of the ones. So you don't
you're not doing the whole thing. You're just you have your I like that. I think that's a good solution. I think that would be
I actually feel like we stumbled on a really good idea there.
Yeah. If you're looking, Isaac, this is for whatever the next haven is, Ocean Haven or whatever. Cool. Anything else?
Sea Haven.
Yeah, Sea Haven. Sorry.
No, that's. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think the quality of the game components are great. The minis are really good. Like I think I've mentioned that just a couple of them aren't quite as detailed, but really like that's just a tiny thing.
And like I know you've talked before about like maybe printing out some of the bad guys, so we have like minis versus minis. But I also really like the minis versus just like the cutouts.
I like the cutouts.
That gives us more feel as the characters.
Yeah, and the
like
box would be gigantic.
Yeah, actual minis are awesome, but they would be more expensive if you had a lot more of them. And I just love art. I love art.
The art for these have been phenomenal.
The art has been. The quality of the game components,
except for the cat dogs.
The design of the design of the cards I really liked.
Yeah.
Like the
art
like
is the colors.
Yeah,
the color
art is
schemes,
amazing.
Stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Major props to the art
so
team.
much character, and it really feels like it's part of a consistent world. Like it's,
And
I would like to get some more lore stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially on like some of the different races, like the whatever my guy even fucking was.
Quatrell or whatever.
No, he's a Orchid.
Orchid, yeah.
Like they just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
The Acers we get a little bit, but they're still.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I loved opening the boxes.
Yeah,
that was so rewarding to me.
Yeah.
Like, I got this retirement. I get to open this box. I have no clue what this is. I'm gonna look at the mini and pull out the cards. That was really cool.
I appreciate the whole community, like being like
so
into the spoiler free.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. We're gonna use code names for everything. All of the boxes. We're not going to say the real name. We're not going to say what the races are. Everything's covered. And I mean, this is a game that's a few years old. It's been out for a while. So most board games that are out this long, like there's just spoilers everywhere. And this one has been really good. Like I did accidentally stumble on some Envelope X stuff completely by accident. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I mean, like if you start you do too many Googles on a couple things, and you're gonna find stuff. But overall, just your basic stuff, very spoiler free, which for the whole community, I appreciate that.
Yeah, which is great. Yeah, it's just really fantastic. So.
Yeah, I'm definitely the kind of person that likes to toe the line of like, like I got look in the Gloomhaven subreddit and like try to read through conversations and stuff without spoiling myself. And trying to toe that line.
Yeah, end up getting a little spoiled because you looked just one comment too much.
Yeah.
Yep, I do that too sometimes. Yep.
Yeah. One other thing I do want to touch on, the retirements you mentioned a second ago. Yeah. Retirements need tweaking, man.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's too fast. Sometimes you realize you're just not going to get it. Sorry. Well, the thing you need to do this, you guys already did it all. Too bad.
And
you're just playing this forever now unless you just choose to quit.
Yeah.
Because we were very much, we're not going to go back and replay a bunch of stuff. And
Yeah.
it's like, I need cultists. We killed all the cultists to get here.
Yeah.
I need vermlings. We already they're all the vermlings.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like you shouldn't have to do right. You shouldn't have to just replay scenario again to check a box on a thing.
Yeah.
Right, because that's not
the
really
the
fun.
retirements definitely need a tweak.
Yeah.
You know, it's.
I don't know how
I
to
don't
tweak it,
want to grind in this
but
game.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's so much good content that it
Yeah.
feels like, I don't want to grind because I want to get to this cool new content that's coming out, and like there's all these scenarios that I really want to get to. I don't want to replay this scenario 3 times so I can get a retirement goal, so I can unlock a new character. I want to get it organically as we're playing the game. Yeah, I agree. The retirement mechanics need a little bit of a tweak.
Yeah, because I like joked around about playing the Plague Herald forever, and then it like really came true.
Yeah, and then you're like, well, there might not be an opportunity to get out of this.
Yeah, I was like, I just don't know, man.
Yeah.
And it really was fun, and I really loved the mini was so awesome.
Oh, yeah.
It was
The
cool.
flavor of the abilities and stuff. That
yeah.
was my favorite.
And the storyline to get there.
Yeah, the definitely favorite missions of the game were
Yeah.
the unlocking the Plague Herald.
Yeah.
They're just so good.
Yeah, and that kind of goes into the
Yeah.
next question was your favorite character that you played. Plague Herald is awesome.
Yeah.
And the next character is favorite character that someone else has played. That's me, Plague
Yeah.
Herald. Like the character itself is just awesome. My favorite is the Night Shroud. I think it's fairly obvious.
And the Night Shroud is the favorite one that somebody else played.
Yeah.
I thought that dude was so cool.
Yeah.
Dude was so cool. But
Like I felt horrible about playing him just because like you're just invisible all the time. So then it's all of those attacks are now targeting 2 people instead of 3.
right, but like when you were playing him, I was playing the Quartermaster,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I could just tank all the fucking hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a little bit depends on composition, but just that playing that character is just like this otherworldly, like teleporting, darkness thing. Like that's fun. Man.
Yeah, flavor text and stuff was really cool. This is besides the point, but I love that each character brought its own uniqueness that was so much fun. It was never just like, well, this is another fighter. They just go in and they bash on stuff. It's like, oh, this guy pulls things in and I can create obstacles and I can move things around. And this is a tank, but like I felt like each one had its own gimmick.
The only one that I would say is not true for the elemental and the oh my gosh, the one I played.
The
Sunkeeper.
Spellweaver.
Spellweaver.
The Spellweaver and the Elementalist, like, it's the same flavor.
Yeah.
The ability was very different.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the same flavor. You're an elemental spellcaster.
Yeah, I could see that. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they all had, for the most part, they had certain things that were your core elements. You know, you got your fighter, your buff, debuff, your
healer-ish,
range, whatever. But they did have a very unique ability, and like we didn't play a couple of the first guys. Like we didn't play the Tinker, we didn't play the Brute.
Yep.
I imagine like those would play kind of similar to a couple other ones
Yeah.
with their own uniqueness. But they did do a really good job of having their own individual.
Like each one had like a little thing that was just uniquely theirs. Like you have the Doom, he had the medical packs. You know, Plague Herald had like the crazy amount of curses and those things. Soothsinger had the songs.
I do love the way the like Plague Herald, Sunkeeper, Soothsinger.
Yeah.
The way it like built, like it felt like such a natural progression.
Oh, yeah.
Debuffer, buffer, debuff, buffer.
Yep.
Right?
Yep, exactly.
Like, yeah, that was really cool.
And it felt like no matter like there's some obvious like times during the campaign where I felt like we're not an optimized group, but I also felt like it was still good enough
Yeah, so
where you could
we
get
didn't
through.
have to be an optimized group.
Yes,
Yeah.
it never felt like that.
And because each one is so different, and like even if we had a 4th player, that would totally change the dynamic.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Regardless of what we were playing, like
Yeah.
you could get so many different combos between a 2-player game, a 3-player game, a 4-player game, and then just all the different combinations of players. You could get some ridiculous party compositions.
Yeah, I think it might have it might have fallen apart a little bit, party composition, if there's 2 people. Like, I feel like there might have been some times where you get 2 characters and you're like, ugh.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that, it's
Like-
just not going to work. We need
like
someone
if you
that
had the
does
elementalist
X.
and like
Yeah.
the soothsinger.
Yeah.
That would not probably be a very good party comp.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I am wondering if 3 people is a really good number to play, though, because it seemed like with 4, it adds, I think at that point, with more guys on the field, it might start to feel a little more grindier, pace-wise.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to say, though.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting.
It's just that's adding another turn to every scenario.
Yeah, but
Every round.
3 felt very much like a sweet spot for me. Like, it felt really good. Like, I had enough time to like look at my cards and decide to play. It felt like I was doing important things.
Mm-hmm.
Like to me, it didn't feel like there was ever there's a couple times with the Elementalist where I felt like I was like, I'm not doing anything. Like, I'm just hanging back here and like doing 1 or 2 damage, and I'm not really like contributing. But for the most part, I felt like I was always contributing in some way that was helpful. I don't know.
Yeah.
No,
well,
absolutely.
Like on the subject, my favorite character that I didn't play was probably the Mind Thief.
Yeah.
Even though you struggled with it, I just thought it was a really fun mechanic, and I just think it was just. I think it just would have been much more interesting towards the end of our playthrough than the beginning.
Yeah.
With a different party, and then there was also a little bit of us sabotaging each other with the Plague Herald.
Yeah.
So that wasn't great. Mostly me sabotaging you, but like that wasn't a great dynamic. And also, again, I just think like higher level, more access to different items to complement the build. I think that could have been a really fun character.
Yeah. And
So
like,
the Mind Thief is like it makes monsters do things, right?
Yeah.
The Void Warden in Jaws of the Lion does that same type of mechanic, but with a little tweak, and it was one of my favorite Jaws of the Lion's characters, and like just characters in general. It was one of my favorites.
Yeah, and like I really liked the Mind Thief. I would probably put them towards the bottom on the characters I played. But again, I think part of that was the party composition, and then mine just struggling to get the cards to work the way that I want. But I don't think I disliked any of the characters that I played. Like the Scoundrel was really fun for his thing. I think he was probably the simplest of the characters that I played. Quartermaster was also fairly simple, but I did so many things with him that it gave it its own complexity, because I was refreshing items, I was doing stuff for you guys, I was tanking stuff, I was dealing out damage.
And like, imagine if the Quartermaster was the second character you got, and we had very few items and no money, and
it would have totally changed the dynamic of that character.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been nearly as good, because you're like, I just have one item, refresh an item. Oh, I get my boots back. Whoopity-doo. But I agree. And maybe that was built in. That was built into the mechanics where you don't unlock Quartermaster right away. Like, I guess you could have technically. You could have gotten a retirement goal immediately.
He technically was the first one that I unlocked. I just chose to do.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I forgot about that.
That's right.
So imagine if you had played him first, you might have a completely different opinion.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
If you actually played it when you got it. Yeah.
Yep. Huh. That's interesting. I didn't think about that. Cool. Favorite scenario and least favorite scenario, and like, I don't have scenario numbers for mine, but I can just tell you, like, I really like Wild Melee. That was a lot of fun. The one where it was just animals attacking and
The big open one.
No, that was the one where like the spirits were attacking us and the bad guys, and the bear and the wolf were on our side.
Yeah, that was just like 2 or 3 sessions ago.
Oh, that one is. Yeah, that was a really fun one. Yeah.
Any of the ones that had like the really crazy mechanics, like the one where we had to bail water, the one where escaping Vigil Keep, that was ridiculous. The first time we fought the weird eyeball stuff, like anything with a funky mechanic that just we had to totally throw our chain of thought on its head and go, okay, we normally go about stuff this way, and that's not going to work.
Yeah.
What do we do here?
Yeah.
There's the one. I think we're just like in a ritual chamber, and guys just kept coming in
Yeah,
at us.
we
and,
were protecting Hale
and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that was fun.
That one was a fun. Yeah, that I think that was one of the enhancement story arcs. But yeah, like you're in this little room, Hale's in the middle, everything's just spawning, and eventually you feel like you're gonna get overrun, but you're keeping up just enough.
Yeah.
And then suddenly Hale finishes right as you feel like
10 rounds
crap.
or whatever.
Yeah.
That's
That one was
definitely how
really
I
cool.
felt. That was really good.
Yeah. I'm gonna go against the grain a little bit, but my least favorite was the water bailing.
That's what I was thinking at first. It was just
Like
it
I
just felt
think,
a little over tweaked.
Yeah, I liked the mechanic was really cool. I feel like if they would have changed it to where 2 people consistently bailing could have done it. The third could have just done the attacks and helped out every once in a while. That would have been a lot more enjoyable. But the fact that all 3 of us had to bail, had to dump really quickly, like it felt like it was a slog rather than an enjoyable mechanic.
No, and that's fair.
Yeah, I think if you just had to stand next to the thing where you dump the water instead of on it, I think that might have made all the difference in the world.
Yeah, 1 hex less.
Yeah. And then like 2 people stand next to it.
Yeah.
So we weren't like, well, I'm blocked. Well, I gotta move. Well, I can't move. I gotta use this bottom thing to do this because
Yeah.
Like that just like that was more frustrating than fun.
Yeah, I agree.
A little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I really enjoyed that scenario,
But
that's one of the
those
ones that
mechanics
comes
were
to
cool.
mind when I think of
that
weird
kind
mechanics.
of mechanic is I do like. I like the idea of like, well, this is a thing you have to accomplish, and then guys are going to be coming, but you have to
you're
maintain.
distracted.
Yeah, that is a fun idea. Like I said, I just thought it was a little over.
No, agree.
Yeah.
One of my least favorite ones. Several of my least favorite ones. The oozes, man. Those
I like
fucking
the
oozes.
I like the oozes.
Yeah, like, so the scenarios that we failed so many times on, I was tempted to say those, but looking back, like, I was ready to be done with those, but it was so rewarding when we finally, like, clicked. Like, when we finally got that puzzle piece figured out where we're like, okay, I'm going to stun this guy, you're going to stun that guy, we're going to come over here so they can't summon, and we're going to get in this place and plug the hole. When it came together, then I was like, oh, it's amazing. It was super frustrating when we replayed a scenario 4 or 5 times, but it was still like, it wasn't like, it was getting to a slog, but it was enough of like, if we just do one thing a little bit differently, we can get it this time. We can do it,
No, for sure. Most definitely.
It's that one we replayed the most that felt a little long. Like it went a little long. Where it's like...
Yeah. Well, there's one where we left. Because we were like, our party composition just isn't suited for this one.
That was the fairies with the oozes. With the...
Oh, that was the big open one.
Yeah,
and
destroying
the
the trees. Yeah.
God, the trees.
Yeah, with the...
With all the fairies cursing, all the oozes being summoned.
The jumping snakes
jumping
poisoning
snakes.
us. Yeah, that one was brutal.
Yeah, that one was one that felt very party build centric. Like if you didn't have the perfect like group, then it was almost impossible. Like you had to have some specific characters that you're like, okay, this is doable now. Like
yeah, I like the idea of it. Of like, this was just a giant open room with a lot of shit. Good luck.
Yeah.
But in effect, is definitely like, I don't know.
Yeah. Another one of my favorites was on the storyline to unlock the Doomstalker, where we had the random cards.
Oh yeah. Yep.
That in and of itself was just like, what's next?
Yeah.
Who knows? It's this thing. Cool. Like
I would have liked to see more of that.
The random side.
Yeah.
The random pulls. Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah,
I like
that was really cool. And then the one with the one demon lord where
he's teleporting around in the circle.
Yeah.
And we just went backwards.
Yeah, that one was. I really like that boss mechanic. To go from that to this.
Yeah.
You did so many great boss fights.
Yeah.
What happened here?
Yep. The teleporting headless horseman mechanic was cool.
Oh yeah.
There's the big eyeball that spawned little eyeballs around. That mechanic, that boss mechanic was cool. At the very beginning, when we fought that one main guard dude, that was a cool mechanic because there's a lot of other guards coming in, and he was walking over and unlocking doors. Yeah, like I agree that like they did so many boss battles perfect, and then the Gloom just felt like
It was so lackluster.
yeah, like meh.
Yeah.
Like,
Very anticlimactic.
deal a bunch of damage to it, and you're okay.
Yeah, and we did it in what, 7 rounds?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just he hits hard, but you guys do a bunch of damage because you're all just standing there attacking him. So,
Yeah, he didn't move around very much. Like I stood next to him, and I kept worrying like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and then he's gonna teleport, and I'm not gonna be able to get to him. So I'm gonna try to work these cards out. And most of the time, he just sat there, and I was like, oh, like attack, attack, but yeah.
Yeah,
and we buffed ourselves, so
Yeah, exactly.
we
That
crushed
was
it.
a huge thing that we kind of had. We played all of our characters long enough that we had all of our synergies worked out where we just wrecked it.
But again, even just outside of how difficult or easy it was, or how fast or slow it was, it just mechanically wasn't fun.
Yeah.
It was obvious.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, here's a bag of hit points. Hit it till it's dead.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, very
There
very
was
disappointing.
Very little strategy involved. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe adding like each room has a different effect, and he's moving around a lot more.
Oh,
so you have
that
to
would have been cool.
you have to deal with like this one like slows you down, and this one
Gives you
gives you disadvantage,
Yeah.
and this room does this, and he teleports to A at the beginning of every round, and you have to keep up with him, so he's moving around and hitting you like
Yeah, like
Like
really the
something
only mechanic
simple.
was just, oh yeah, and you're dying slowly.
yeah
Yeah.
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 So yeah.
Gloomhaven Helper, like, that had to have saved us so much time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's an aspect of the game that we never had to deal with. Like that might have been a big complaint for us because there are like each monster has its own stack of AI stuff, and then there's the modifier cards. We didn't have to worry about any of that.
So much busy
Like,
work and
yeah.
Yeah, no,
All of
Like,
that-
tracking health. Imagine us
Oh,
just tracking monster health all the time. Like, no,
Well,
wait, we missed that mechanic up. Okay, we got to go back. Okay,
Yeah. Well, there's like a hex thing that you
Yeah.
put tokens on, but
that's
like
still-
that, like any type of like, oops, now. Who
what
knows
was
how
it?
much
Yeah.
damage that like Gloomhaven Helper, like we're inserting ourselves in because we forgot to talk about it, but it's just essential. Like it is
Yes,
an
Gloomhaven
essential.
Gloomhaven Helper is 100% essential, necessary part of the game.
Yeah, I want to give them money. Like,
Yeah.
that is a whole
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
enhancement of the game.
Absolutely brilliant. Cannot.
Yeah.
It's so many features. We didn't even realize it had until
Yeah.
I'd been using.
Yeah, we're
it
like,
for
how do you do
fucking
this?
year
Oh,
already.
it has
It
that
just
mechanic.
does that,
Like,
yeah, like-
it does the summoning things.
Oh.
It does. You can change this, and yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like whoever made that, I can't remember who, but awesome job. Like
Yes, I hope you put it together for Frosthaven.
yeah,
I hope-
it will be.
like,
Yeah. I
fantastic.
think Cephalfair is actually working with them so that it will be ready when Frosthaven comes out.
that's fantastic.
It'll be ready. So yeah, it's essential part, and that might have.
I mean, they should be hired on and. part
Yeah.
of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Like
like, they
that's a
should be-
feature of the
Yes.
of the game is Gloomhaven Helper.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's so much math and busy work and mechanics and table space that we never had to worry about
No.
because it was all just there for us.
Yeah.
Click,
Never
click,
had to touch
done,
the
done,
monster
done.
box outside of pulling out the actual like standees.
Yeah.
For it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you imagine like the
10
the
oozes,
oozes
and then
and the
Yes.
mechanic of
wolves
like
and
all of the hit point changes and
Tracking
and tweaks
status effects
and,
on
oh,
our
man.
own.
Yeah, like we didn't have to touch hardly any of those like little tokens because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Essential. Essential.
Absolutely. Yeah, have to have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, I mean that's all the stuff that all the questions that I had. Yeah. Anything else that you guys can think of that you wanted to mention?
I
This
really
is one
did.
of the best games I've ever played.
Yeah, no, this is
Just
definitely.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Outside of any specific praise or criticism, like the overall impression is I had an amazing time.
Yeah.
Honestly, after discovering D&D, I never thought like I was ever going to play anything that game like that. I was just like, oh, this is,
Yeah.
also one of my favorite things I've ever done. I just
Yeah.
thought there was going to be that,
Yeah.
and there'd be other stuff that are cool.
Yeah.
But this is one of the best times I've had playing it, like a physical game.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, same here. Like, I was blown away. I didn't know what to expect at all. Like, I was
Yeah.
expecting dungeon crawl. It's gonna be D&D like. It'll be cool because I don't have to GM. Like, we can all just kind
Yeah.
of sit down and play. Like, that was the main shtick for me. But yeah, like we've played. This is episode 81 was the finale, and that's at the very very minimum 81 hours in this game, and I didn't feel like.
Oh, done.
Like, I didn't feel like I was like, yeah, I'm done. I don't really want to play anymore. I'm happy that it's over. Like, I could have played
I could
another
just
80
keep-
hours.
Yeah,
you just
one.
let go.
There were. I mean, when we first started this, we were playing 2 a night for a while.
Yep.
And like all the time, we're like, can we squeeze another one in? What can we do? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
we were
I-
we ate
I
this up. Man.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
We
Yeah.
we got your money's worth, man.
Oh yeah, 100,000%. Yeah. Like, and there's like this game is $100. Like, a lot of games out there right now that I feel like are less enjoyable are $200 and $300, like easy.
Yeah.
And yeah, the money, the investment in this was like was
Oh
was
yeah,
huge.
I mean, I'm not too proud to say, but I've paid 80 plus games for games before.
Yeah.
I probably won't even play them.
Yeah.
They're just gonna sit on my shelf and go,
Yeah.
yeah, I bought this game.
Yeah.
It looks really cool.
Yeah.
It's the problem I have with collecting anything. It's just like I'm so just ambivalent. Or just like, yeah, great. Is it just here now? That's cool.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
look at it sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like that's one of those things. Like having done that a few times, it's made me go, okay, I shouldn't do this unless I know I'm going to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I actually going to get my money's worth out of this, or is this just going to be another thing to sit on my shelf?
Yeah, exactly. So, yep. I mean, I wasn't tired of it. I think that's the biggest praise we can give it is.
Yeah, we never want to stop playing.
We played the whole story, and I would be okay playing more. Like, if there's more content, I would be completely fine with just keep playing. So.
I mean, technically there is, but
Yeah. But yeah, like we wanted to play Arena. I am excited about
Yeah.
Arena too. So it's not like. Yeah, like if we didn't have Arena, I would be completely fine jumping into Forgotten
just
Circles.
doing random stuff or
And
Forgotten Circles
or we could go through and be like, okay, all of these scenarios that we didn't unlock, let's just play them
Yeah.
for fun. Yeah, but yeah, I'm excited about Frosthaven. I'm excited about Arena too. That should be a fun in a different way. So
It's going to be a hard left turn,
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
but it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So
I'm just excited to play games with you guys.
yep, exactly.
Yeah, man.
Like I'm so happy that like I decided to reach out and offer this and yeah, like I'm super happy about it, and our friendship has grown leaps and bounds just hanging out together.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Monday night, and it's just been really very rewarding, and I'm very thankful for it for
Yeah,
sure.
I was very hard leaning no originally because like it just does not work with my schedule. It just
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah,
I really have to force myself to do this, but I'm so happy I did.
good.
Yeah, I'm super stoked that you did too.
Yeah, those first few games I was so exhausted.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was just so not ready for this.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you introduce me to the wonders of super caffeine.
A bang, and then everything was fine again. Okay.
Yeah.
If there's not anything else. I wanted to reach out. Thank you guys so much again for watching. Like,
Yes.
and I wanted to reach out, like, comment about your favorite scenario and your least favorite scenario. Leave a comment about that. Let us know if there's anything that we can change, like going into Frosthaven. Like if there's something that would make it more enjoyable for you guys to watch us play. Like if you want to watch us like pick cards and talk strategy, let us know. If you want like more editing and cutting it down to being a more slimmer, Let us know.
Just playing the game and not whatever.
More close-ups of my face.
Exactly. Yeah, just all Kevin all the time. Just nothing else but just Kevin's face. But yeah, if there's anything that you guys would like to see in our Frosthaven playthrough or our Forgotten Circles playthrough, if we get to it, let us know. We'd be happy to change it. As long as it's not going to like double my editing time or something like that, then I'm more than happy to. If the camera angles would be better in a different position, we've got flexibility. So,
but yeah, no, thanks for sticking out with us. This interaction has been weird but really fun.
Yeah, well, just like Pete, like he's on the other side of the world, and like I've developed a friendship with him. Like he sends me messages and we talk about the playthroughs. Like he recorded, our finale for us, which is amazing. Like it's so cool that like we could develop friendships with people that we've never met, and then just make comments on our dumb videos. Like
that is the power of the internet and board games, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Love it.
Okay, that's it. See you guys later.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.